Hi, everybody. So excited to have you here. This is exciting because it's the last one of the year, the last webinar on AI of the year. We've done one every month. We're so excited every time we have more and more people. So it's kind of bittersweet. We will start again next week, next year, but we'll miss it at least for 30 to 40 days. But excited. I just landed from New York just to be here. I'm really excited. Thanks for being here. And for those people that constantly join and that I bumped into different places and I hear you saying, thank you for what you're teaching us, for what you're helping us to learn. I thank you because through this series, I've learned so much. I've learned from your questions, I've learned from your comments, and I've learned from your interest, right? From each one of the speakers. And today we also have a terrific speaker yet again. As you know, this has been a series. Thanks to Capital One. I was with them last night, and I thank them in our name and in the name of everybody that watches this incredible webinars. They were very proud and very happy to be able to do this for us. And yet again, thank you, Capital One, and thank you to our staff. The Latino Donor Collaborative staff and the board make all this happen. And this is an initiative that is critical for the community, as you know. The Latino community is vital for the growth of this country, and we are, in the over index in, academic achievements, in economic achievements, and we have the obligation and also the interest and the opportunity to be part of this new era of AI, generative AI. And so, this multi-billion dollar market will be very lucky if we start making even more strides in it and seize the opportunities of this booming industry. Beyond this webinar, as you know, we've launched every year an LDC US Latinos in Tech. The last 2 years have been focused on AI, and it also has been a ride. This last report was done by Arizona State University, and we find out how are we evolving. We've been measuring the industry for Latinos since this industry started 4 years ago, right? Since we all started hearing about all the possibilities that this was offering to us as business leaders, as economic, decision makers, and we've learned with the growth of this industry. And for a copy of that report, go to our website, latinodonorcollaborative.org. As you know, we're lucky to be able to distribute all this information for free for you to do. Chase the growth in our community and to be a bridge, right, between what you are authentically and your clients, your stakeholders, your board members, etc. So, yeah, to start with it and recap the previous webinar and introductions, remember that our last one was really fascinating. We had Felipe Millon from ChatGPT's OpenAI, and he really gave us these tools. We got so much feedback about, how he showed us new ways of using it, how to go even deeper into taking advantage of these tools, and really a big, big success. This one is really exciting. Today, we're focusing on a topic that couldn't be more timely and relevant, right? AI and the skills needed to succeed in the next year. So, with that, let me welcome our fabulous board member, LDC board member, Guillermo Diaz. And he will introduce our guest, and he will also guide a questions and answers session after. I will join also for that questions and answers to get to know more about your questions yet again, and to facilitate the dynamic. So Guillermo, please join us. Welcome. Thanks for always being such an incredible board member. Your generosity in terms of time and knowledge and connections have made this series possible, and we just couldn't be more grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
I'll
Anna.
leave you with him.
All right. So thank you, Anna, and thank you, everyone for being here. As Anna said, we started this actually more than a year ago, and the goal was to really, continue to educate and give us, more insight into a technology, into like a life-changing capability that we hear about every single day. And every single day, something new comes to the table. Whether it's a tool, whether it's an enhancement, a video, image, those any various kinds of things. We have had a great series. One of the things that we have been talking about is, okay, now let's kind of maybe pull it all together, show sort of like what we learned over the last year, and what are the things that we need to be looking forward into 2025. And with that, and who can actually explain that? And I've been working with Juan Carlos Gutierrez for many years. It feels like we started the industries together, back several decades back, and we're part of an organization that we ended up growing together called High Tech, which is the Hispanic Technology Executive Council, where we both served for many years as board members, and just really learned together, grew together, and you're going to hear from him today. You'll hear his expertise, and an executive at Amazon, and to help lead one of the world's largest companies is a feat into itself. So what we'll do is I'm going to have JC Juan Carlos come on and give you a little bit about himself, give you kind of like the frame, and then we're going to come back, and you don't want to leave because we're gonna do some cool things when we come back here. So, um, amigo JC, my hermano, please take it from here, and then we'll be back, and we'll play around with some tools. How about that?
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Guillermo. It's great to see you again. It's great to be here. So thank you for the invitation. As Guillermo said, I'm JC. Let me use here a PowerPoint while I start the conversation. But let me know if you can see my slide. If
We see it in the slide mode. You might, yeah.
is that good? Okay. So super.
No. Go
No?
hit that one. Yep. Uh,
Okay.
we see it still in next slide mode.
I tried to do it earlier. Let me try again. And what about now?
Same.
Same. Then it's easier to change here.
There we go.
Perfect. All right. Thank you again and for the invitation. So as Guillermo said, I'm Juan Carlos, JC. A little bit of myself. I've been in the technology business and consulting business for more than 30 years, and shared a lot of those years with Guillermo, and we have this journey together, in particular with High Tech, an organization that joining us in this experience for technology executive that happens to be Hispanics. And in addition to that, actually, I share with Guillermo a passion that you can see in this picture where he's actually next to me. That is education, and we are both very involved in a network of high schools that is called Cristo Rey High School, serving in different boards, and it is an amazing project to help community and students that want to improve themselves and go to college and help their families. So through education, and in particular to technology also. In High Tech, you can see in the picture, this is a time where I opened NASDAQ with some of my colleagues many years ago, also part of my journey on these 30 years. My family, key component of who I am. I have three children, three boys. Juan Carlos, who's 25, Anthony, that is 23, and Juan Pablo, who's 12. And my wife, Asa, we have been married for 27 years. And also another passion that I have, which is doing sports, anything outdoor, like running or cycling. That is me. In terms of background, I have three nationalities. I'm a Spaniard by blood, Venezuelan by luck, and American by choice. Those are my three passports. And that gives me a melting pot of how I see life between European, Latin American, and American cultures, all that combined. And it's giving me actually the possibilities to see the world in different lenses. Okay. And also in terms of personalities, the MBTI, the Myers-Briggs personality test, I'm what is called a mentor or protagonist. And I always mention that because it is also my passion to help mentor others and give back what I have received over time. So that's in a nutshell me. But let's talk about Gen AI and AI in general. And one of the things that is happening with Gen AI is that really it is in a tipping point where it went from maybe a technology that we didn't know if it was going to take off, like many other technologies in the past, like I don't know, metaverse or even 3D printing, very promising, but it hasn't taken off yet. While generative AI, because of the proliferation of data, especially in the cloud, in the capabilities of compute that became cheaper and cheaper and more powerful over time, has made possible that we are in this tipping point where other technologies were in the past, like internet, for example, or maybe cloud computing. And I'll be talking a little bit more about the comparisons of where we are today versus where we were with these type of technologies in the past. But I used to calibrate a little bit of knowledge, and you probably have seen this in the past, but I like to probably complement with different examples. What is new about generative AI? It is that is a mix of technology and art. Um, why is that? Because it's creating something new from data and from the past. And generative AI provides the capability to create new content, new music, new videos, new uh, books. So based on what is already created and existed, this technology creates something new, and that's pretty unique. In the past, we had technology to make us more productive, to accelerate, games like playing chess faster and using technology to improve results. Generative AI is going a little bit further with art, and it's starting to be more complementary of us as humans and what we can do in our jobs. Now, how we arrived to this? Generative AI is AI, and we have been working with AI since the 1950s. So really, AI is not something that is not totally new. Companies have been using AI for many years. Governments have been using AI to do research, to do calculations. But AI has been actually based on um, mathematical models and techniques that over time evolve to, for example, machine learning, which is a subset of AI. And what machine learning brought to us was the capabilities to do with mathematical models applications in a faster way, like, for example, calculating fraud or calculating, a best product and make a recommendation based on analytical models and statistics. So machine learning was very useful and has been very useful in financial services, in health, to create mathematical models to improve results. Deep learning has been a little bit different. And let me go back a little bit with machine learning. We have been using machine learning before I go to deep learning, for many years even in our cell phones. So when we use, for example, an application that is helping us to find something in any map and give us a fast route, that is machine learning. So it is telling us what is the most optimal route for a situation that has traffic, etc. So we have it in our cell phones and we use it every day. Deep learning is a subset of machine learning that has multi-layer neural networks. And that is actually more recent. Deep learning has been from the 21st century when really explode with applications, especially with the proliferation of data and the cost reduction of compute. So when we talk about deep learning is in applications for face recognitions, for example. So when we have now security in the airports that recognize, when we use global entry and recognize ourselves, that is deep learning in our day-to-day usage. When we have applications in our cell phones that recognize us with security and we move our faces and recognize us, that is deep learning. Alexa, how it works, or Siri, that are virtual assistants that recognize our voice, accents, the language, that is deep learning. Okay, so we have been using deep learning very, very often, especially in the 21st century. So now what is generative AI? It's a subset of deep learning. So it uses the same concept of neural networks in data computing, but has an improvement, which is the models, how they are working with that data, and the calculations of the models became more and more efficient. And the difference is that instead of training continuously the data and using models for a specific case, like a model only for language, like Alexa, or a model only for face recognition, which will be a different model, or for translation, these models, Alexa got activated here in the room. But how these models are more used are because these foundational models or large language models, they can be used for different use cases. So for a lot of text use cases, and we'll see a little bit more on that. What cases? So for example, the capabilities will be summarizing a doc, translating a doc or a conversation, correcting a contract, for example, correcting a presentation. So all those capabilities that are text can be done with the same model. In the past, we used to have model for a specific capabilities. One model for summarization, maybe it was not the same model for translation. Now we have these foundational models that can be used in multiple cases. The inputs that we have in generative AI could be text, images, could be coding, which is an amazing use case these days, using these models to generate more code, but also to correct code, to migrate code, to generate documentation of coding. All those are possibilities using generative AI. Now, I like to make an analogy that at the beginning of the internet, back in the 90s, the internet as we know it for the general public, because it happens the same with internet. Internet was used before the 90s in universities, in government institutions, the DARPANET, the military, and we were not as aware until a browser came, especially Netscape, that made internet popular. But internet back in the 90s, people were confused about what it was, the possibilities of internet. It is easy now to go back and see, the impact, but at that time, a lot of us thought that internet was the browser, the business of different browsers. All the technology companies were launching browsers, or it was the use case and the replacement of magazines and books. But it was very narrow what we were seeing about internet back in the days. It is happening again with generative AI. It's like at the top of the iceberg are the applications that we use, like a chat or applications that generate answers, or searchers that are more sophisticated. Those are really the top of the iceberg. So if we see a little bit what has been happening in the last 2, 3 years. In 2023, we can call the year of the POCs, so proof of concepts. People didn't know what was, generative AI, the difference between foundational models, or what model versus another one, or a chat application. Is that Gen AI, or is the model behind? So many questions, and they were answered with tests, with POCs. A lot of them requirements from the C-level, from the boards, from final users. So we were testing about POC, about Gen AI. This year, 2024, became the year of moving to production some of these applications. So really proving that chatbots can be done in a better way, that applications can be used to summarize contracts or improve the coding and the programming internally in the company. So a year of production. In 2025, I personally see it as a year of scaling. It means that now it's not only for one department or for one product, it's scaling globally, scaling with different departments that may use Gen AI. Maybe the whole company will use it, and not only one department internally for IT or HR. So it's the year of scaling. To scale, the questions are different now. It is secure enough to scale. How's the intellectual property that I have for my whole company being protected if I use generative AI? Do I go to train public models with my data, or I will have an infrastructure that is separating the models that are available with my own data? Can I create my personalized model? Those are different questions that are starting to happen when we scale. What I can tell you from 2024 is that generative AI is already transforming all industries. Financial services, for sure, at least in what I have seen in the Americas, it is the industry that has been using generative AI the most. And one of the reasons is that has been using AI also since many years ago for internal processes and risk management, fraud management, etc., and has the culture of data and compliance already in the company. So, but I can tell you use cases and examples of every industry, every size of company, from startups to major corporations, governments in any country are already transforming their businesses with generative AI. What is going to happen again is scaling that to bigger levels. Something that McKinsey and Gartner share is that the impact of generative AI will be for all the jobs. So the numbers that Gartner shared is at least 80% of the jobs will be impacted in a certain capacity. And it's important when we said impacted doesn't mean that will be replaced, that will be eliminated. I want to make the analogy of calculators or even laptops and computers. Today, we cannot imagine our jobs without a laptop or without a computer. 30 years ago, 40 years ago, probably a lot of the jobs were done without computers and without laptops and even without internet. So what is happening is that now we have internet, mobile computer, and laptops in everything that we do. Well, project that with generative AI. We will be using generative AI in everything that we do in our jobs and pretty much our jobs. Okay, so that's the impact. Some customers that I like to share, from regulated industries to startups and digital native companies, are actually pretty impactful. In the regulated industries, the surprise that I can tell you from 2024 is that we thought that regulated industries were going to be slower adopting generative AI. However, what is happening is because the data culture, the security culture, the compliance culture that exists because these industries are regulated, are allowing to use generative AI and get a faster impact because the data is already there and I will say exploring that data to have different interactions is actually easier than what we thought probably a couple of years ago. So companies like the New York Stock Exchange is using generative AI to provide better interactions with users and also better analysis internally. Intuit, which is the company that owns TurboTax and Credit Karma, is using a generative AI to personalize recommendations. If you go to Credit Karma, for example, in your cell phone and get a chatbot that is actually making you recommendations in a personalized way to improve your credit, that is using a generative AI. Merck, another example of how to improve vaccines and new medicines using generative AI, accelerating the time of development. And let me go to the digital native companies like a Perplexity. That's one that I've been using more recently. Perplexity is a startup that has Anthropic as one of the models in Gen AI to improve the search capabilities and provide you a very, very powerful reasoning type of search. So any industry, the message is any industry, any size is being impacted with generative AI. Now, if we can review what are the typical use cases with generative AI, I always want to mention it in four pockets. One is the customer experience, where we have personalization in the relationship with our customers. That could be done through a better website experience, to a better app that is making recommendations. Chatbots are also there. And were we able to do that before Gen AI? Yes. So AI and machine learning was able to do that in the past. What is happening now with generative AI is that it is more powerful. Could be based on open questions when we have now a chatbot that it is not pre-programmed, but it's pre-trained with data and can work in different languages with the same use case. So that's a power there in the customer experience. Internally, employees can be more productive now, generating code, for example, migrating code, but also doing internal search. Like I want to look for a documentation to answer a customer about an issue. I want in the onboarding process as an employee, getting the new training and the materials being updated can be improved with Gen AI. Having training materials that can be recorded and having and distributed with videos in different languages with very few investment can be done with generative AI. The third bucket, or it is the area of improving operations, more like I will say internal processing. For example, document management. So if I'm an insurance company, the processing of the claim can be improved with generative AI. Creating a new contract for a loan can be done much faster with generative AI, changing the clauses of the contract and adapting the contract to a specific customer if it is needed. So those are examples that can be done. And also for maintenance, improving maintenance and mixing that with IoT for airlines, for manufacturing companies, can be done with generative AI. And finally, the one that has been more known, which is the creation of external content, music. What is the business case for companies on that side? Imagine new campaigns that you can take a picture and create materials with that product in different scenarios. So the same product now can be used in, or can be being part of a campaign, a marketing campaign, using the product in different environments. And that will be automatically created. Creation of content that can be used for final users. Creation of new images can be done to improve your business. So those are the buckets. And let me tell you, in Amazon, we have been working in Amazon with AI since the beginning. When for those that have been using Amazon since back in the 90s, like my case, I started to use Amazon since 1997. I was not an Amazon employee, but I used Amazon to get books, and my account is since then. Um, I'm a user since 1997, and I can tell you that the personalization that I got from Amazon since then, recommending me books based on my profile, my consumption, that was AI based on personalization and data. And the improvement of the logistics and distribution centers, the supply chain, robotics, all that is using AI in Amazon and in AWS. Now, recent examples that we have in Amazon in 2024 are, for example, a much better experience when you go to the shopping assistant in your apps. It's called Rufus, which is the first mascot that we have in Amazon back in the 90s. It was a dog from one of the employees called Rufus, so that's the name of the application. But with Rufus, you can ask for recommendations, open questions. What should I buy for this weekend if I got this product? Is there any shoes that go with this, cloth or with this shirt? Or so open questions for an expert that knows you and your patterns and can make a much better experience. So that's Rufus. Also, we have an application. As you know, in Amazon, we have been using reviews and customer reviews in Amazon.com since the beginning. With the customer reviews summarization, you can get a simple paragraph of all the details about a product and makes the experience simple. And if you want to go to the details, you can do that too. So you have the option. But a review, summarized reviews with what is important for you based on your profile, it is what customer reviews are being done. And the other use case that we have is in Amazon Pharmacy, which is two ways: loading prescriptions in a faster way from going to Amazon Pharmacy, and writing the prescription in a way that is easier for you to consume. Sometimes the prescriptions are, done that are hard to understand the doses and how you take it. So the prescription will make it easier for you, and also will make easier for you to ask questions with chatbots for the different medicines. So that is what is happening in the pharmacy sector. Let me go quickly on considerations that we are getting from global customers about generative AI. Very, very key components that we have to consider. Data privacy and security is the number one. It is a concern that has to be addressed with generative AI. So my data should not be used to train other models. My data should not go out from my network and my infrastructure. My security policies and roles and what I have should be applicable to generative AI applications. So that is one of probably the big one concern and consideration to have. Optionality is the second one. What it means is that not one model, it is enough for all the use cases. Some models are good for translation, other models are good for images, other models are good for summarization, and they have different costs. So we should have the option to choose the model that is more appropriate for a use case. And also performance and cost are important. So when I have a model that is being used in a chatbot, I want performance, I want quick answers. But if I have a model that is used to summarize a contract or several documents that I may have internally, maybe I can wait for more time. I want more quality there, but not necessarily fast performance. So those things should be optionality when we choose the models. Easy to use, also cost, as I mentioned it. we should be able to use different parameters for different costs. Responsible AI is a key component that goes from having in the models the way to have better, I would say, answers and protect your patterns, your culture, but also avoid dangers, racism, avoid biases. So all that is part of the responsible AI that we need in the configuration. And of course, generative AI applications that can be integrated and power solutions with your ERP, with your CRM, and with your applications. So what are the stacks of generative AI? Simplifying is 3 layers. The infrastructure is super important in generative AI, and that goes with the compute capabilities, with hardware that is very specific for with GPUs and very specific for training models and to infer models. Very different functions, training and inferring, and that's why very specific infrastructure has to be considered and architected. In the case of, I'm showing now the infrastructure and the stack from Amazon, from AWS. We go from GPUs that are public from the market, like with partners like NVIDIA, but also we have our own infrastructure that is training and inferential that are chips that are developed by Amazon. Same thing with Nitro and Graviton that could complement the infrastructure from Gen AI. Going to the second layer, that's where we have Bedrock, which is a layer to administrate the different models and where you can create models and applications. You can create new models, for example, a model for health or a model for a specific country that requires government considerations. That is a very specific model versus a generic model that is being used for everything. So those are things that are done in this layer, and the integration and the security from the applications and your data, your system has to be done in this layer. And finally, the applications that are built and available. In our case, we have Amazon Q, which is an expert virtual assistant that can connect in your business with data sources, with your mail, with your CRM, with your ERP, with your databases, and provide an experience as a chat or as a virtual assistant, multi-channel, that can be a way to have a business virtual assistant experience. And we have a family of solutions in Amazon Q that I can go in detail during the Q&A if you have any questions there. So what is the future? To wrap up here, in addition to scaling, is to have agents. That's a new phase of Gen AI, having agents that can independently do functions like your reservation, asking for a taxi, and then you can have workflows that will, if you want to have an integrated experience, these agents can be from different companies, not only your own company. Like having an experience for a trip over the weekend, that can be a recommendation of things to do, reserve a ticket, buy a ticket, reserve a restaurant, get the taxi, all those done with generative AI in a personalized way. Multimodal is a new phase where models can be text to text, text to video, or anything to anything, which is the future. A model that can be used with voice, but generate an image. So imagine Alexa next generation. That's what is going to happen with anything to anything models. And multiple models, that's different models of different sizes. Every day there is a new model. Every day there is an improvement from a previous model. So this is changing so fast that you need to think about multimodal architectures. And finally, policies and policies and guardrails that you need in your infrastructure. I'm going to invite you later with Guillermo to go to Party Rock and have your own experience building your own app. That's something that you could do in minutes But this is a public development environment or a playground that you can use is partyrock.aws. If you don't have the experience using Party Rock, I invite you to go maybe during the rest of the session at some point in your cell phones, go there and start to think about an application that you could create. One of the first applications that I did actually almost 2 years ago was to have a wine pairing application. So based on food, uh, an application that tell me that the best three wines that could go with a specific meal. And then I can choose the type of wine. So if I want Spanish wines, which are my number one option usually, or I can use Italian wines or Argentinian wines. So that is a type of application that you can build. So play with that. And finally, recommendations, what is next? Learn, take the time. We are talking about skills development here. Gen AI is a skill that I invite everybody to develop and to understand, at least to know how it works. Play with applications like a Party Rock. And then in your businesses or in your startups or internally in what you do, explore with specific use cases how to improve your internal processes in your business, and start with a POCs to get data and results. So with that, I close my first part and I ask Guillermo to open the for Q&A. But thank you
All
for having.
right. So let me ask Anna to come back also. So one of the things though, we have to figure this out. JC, can we go back to your Party Rock slide? Because I know that, in this sort of new world, it's all about hands-on. And so can you kind of give us, you started telling us about your app and wines. So if someone goes in, and I invite you all to go to your browser and type in, is it
.aws.
partyrock.aws,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, go there, partyrock.aws. You can join the party with your personal email. You don't need an AWS account or this is free. It's just to learn. If you have an Amazon account, you can also use your Amazon account or Hotmail or any Gmail account. You can use it. So that's the first thing. Now, what is the probably the first steps is that the building of the app is a description, it's a prompt. So you will learn what is prompting engineering with the app, with Party Rock. And prompting engineering is an skill that is recommended to learn. So what is prompting engineering? Is writing what you want from the app with the parameters and with the description that is more appropriate for the results that you want. So let me tell you an example with the wine pairing. You can create your own wine pairing app. So once you are there, in the app builder description, you see here is generate. This is what it says, no? Generate with sentences what the app is going to do. So you could write something like generate an app that will tell me the best top 3 wine recommendations for a specific meal. That will be the prompt. And then, boom, create the app. Okay, so that will be one. Now, other examples while you build your own app. Tell me the best restaurant for a specific city. And then the city will be the parameter. The application is going to create that. And then we'll create a restaurant. Once you do that, that's where prompting engineering can be like a cycle of improvement. For example, you can say only Chinese restaurants or only Asian restaurants, and then you can change it. and improve it. Okay. The other thing that you could do with this is to share the app. Okay. So why is that good? Because sharing the app creates communities around different apps. Now, imagine that in your own business, and this is what is happening right now in the next Gen AI evolution. Companies are building apps internally for things like I can tell you cases that I'm using internally in AWS. Tell me how many days do I have available, as my for vacations. That will be an app. It's personalized. It goes to the HR system and tells me the results. Okay. Or for example, in Amazon, we write a lot. We have applications that can help us to write, a better summary. So we use the app and tell them and tell the app, summarize this document that I have and give me the top 3 ideas. So those are applications that you can start to build internally in your companies. But the idea with Party Rock is right now is that it's a learning environment. Just start to learn, create your own apps. And I don't know if anybody has created anything while we have been talking, but hopefully has been a good experience. I think somebody was in the chat. Let me stop here and see the chat.
Yeah. So hopefully, and I saw Anna over there typing. Hopefully she created her tequila
Create
tasting
anything,
app,
Donna?
right?
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
I think
Yes.
she went for the mezcal training.
No, I'm a tequila girl, so tequila.
Okay,
Tequila,
tequila.
tequila.
Okay, Madeline's working on it, so hopefully she'll have that app ready for us. But I think there's some questions, Anna, that have started to
Yes,
come
of
through,
course.
right?
So, you know what? Why don't we start with Jolene? She always has fantastic questions. She's a regular one. Hi, Jolene. And so she says, well, first of all, Juan Carlos, she says excellent information. And she says that she hears that AI is an energy hog, which can exacerbate the climate crisis. Do you see any solutions to manage this issue?
Well, let me tell you that that's a great question. So let me tell you that what is happening with the growth of generative AI and data in general and cloud computing, but generative AI has been accelerating the need to have more sustainable data centers, have a better use of resources, energy, water, etc. And sharing a little bit, Amazon is the biggest buyer of renewable energy globally. Okay, so it's the number one company
Oh, wow.
because it's an internal commitment of
Mhm.
Amazon, and
That's good to know.
we came with in addition to being the number one buyer of renewable energy, the data centers and everything that we do in Amazon using, of course, AWS will be carbon net zero by 2030. Okay. So,
2030.
yeah. And what is happening is that the data centers and the technology that is being used, is very sustainable. Um, Again, going to net carbon zero, but also is water positive, which is the other component. So I think that we are at 80% already of all the data centers to be water positive. The idea, again, to be water positive is also to happen in the next few years. Water positive means that we are returning more water to the communities where we have the data center. So
Exactly.
it's
You
not
you return more than what you take.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we're returning more than what we take. So is this a possibility to help on climate? I will say if you have data on premise and you have your current cost of compute that is not sustainable, moving what you have to the cloud and moving to data centers that are sustainable is helping the climate crisis.
And
Yeah.
what JC's really saying is move it to AWS.
if you want to do it faster, do it.
AWS. Yes.
So just one quick, maybe 30 seconds, because I think it's important. I'm not sure everyone knows. I mean, we do, but when we say AWS, it means Amazon Web Services, and there's Amazon. Can you maybe just
Yeah.
distinguish between those two in 30 seconds, maybe?
Yeah, great question. Thank you, Guillermo. So Amazon is really the public company that started again 30 years ago, in 1994 to sell books, right? Amazon.com. It was the first e-commerce website that was selling books, and since then has been revolutionizing the different areas, from selling books to selling CDs, DVDs, everything today. And as part of that transformation, created different businesses. Amazon Music, that's a different business. Prime Video, that's Amazon Prime Video is a different business. Alexa is actually a business. AWS is also a business, Amazon Web Services. So it's a business inside Amazon. What AWS does is to provide web infrastructure, cloud infrastructure to customers, including Amazon. Amazon is a customer of AWS. But when you have customers like Netflix, for example, they run in AWS. Capital One, which is great to see Capital One, first bank to move everything to the cloud, zero data centers, and
Yes.
Capital One is in
That's
AWS.
what they were saying yesterday. They are digitalized completely. That's why they can go to zero cost at all levels for the account, holders.
Exactly. So,
Yep.
and that's what AWS is the cloud provider of networking, data, infrastructure to many
Wow.
customers globally.
Yep. So that question that you just answered is very relevant to and a key strategic component to AWS especially, right?
Exactly, exactly. And Amazon as a customer of AWS is making going to the sustainability part, making big progress in the promise of being net zero, net carbon zero. Because in addition to the transportation, the logistics, the supply chain, using AWS is accelerating that commitment. Okay, so that's why I was mentioning it too. Uh,
Yeah.
Very interesting. Wow. G, do you want to read Steven's?
Yeah, so let's go and I think, when we think about, I think you were hitting on this earlier with generative AI and even more autonomous agents. So you kind of hit on agents. If you
Mhm.
think about even like my Tesla vehicle as a autonomous agent, right? It's getting me from point A to point B without me having to drive sometimes. But how can we ensure that we'll act responsible in an ethical manner? And will they become even more important and widespread, the agents that is? And how can we ensure that the digital divide doesn't even get bigger, the digital desert, right?
Yeah. And so it's gonna bring, that's a great question. I think agents is gonna bring a new spectrum of businesses too, right? Just like internet did for many companies and startups, and now we see what is a digital native company. So before internet, we had no idea an Uber could exist or a Netflix could exist doing streaming, right? So companies could do agents moving forward, and that will be their own business. So, for example, there is a startup in Chile that is getting, it's called Lemon Tech. They had all the court cases in Chile, like digitized, 6 million of cases that they offer um, value added and answers and summaries to those cases using Gen AI. Imagine an agent that without you asking is providing that service. So when you want to open a business, when you want to, check about regulations, will be an agent that your application is going to call, have an answers. and nobody was in the middle working. So that's an autonomous agent providing you legal advice. That will be an example. So imagine an agent that can make your Uber reservations autonomous, or OpenTable, these applications that I can do a reservation for you in an autonomous way. So when you want and say, hey, Alexa, I want to go, and have dinner with my wife, the agents will do everything for me. But it's going to be an integration between agents. And you will have better agents than others, and it will be a healthy competition between agents. But that's what is going to happen. So
You better watch out, JC, or agents are going to steal your wife.
My God.
well,
Oh my God, Guillermo. What were you
I need a
thinking?
martial art agent.
You need a martial arts
Oh
agent.
my
Yeah.
God. So, you know what? Unfortunately, we're running out of time, but the questions, each one of them is so good. Can I commit G and JC to answer these questions back if they provide their emails? Because
Yes.
honestly, each one of them, I was trying to choose one, but all of them are really, really good.
Yeah.
And I, of course, will help to do it, but I think it's worth it because each one of them is very insightful. So
Diana, there is one that maybe it will take 10 seconds, which is I think while everybody is going to Party Rock, um, does you know how does one protect the IP on Party Rock? Maybe you can answer that real quick so that we
Yeah,
folks can feel.
yeah.
and in the
Pattern
meantime,
Rock.
just quick announcement, whoever wants their question answered, just please send us your email.
Yeah.
We'll be happy to answer them. Thank you. Go ahead, JC.
No, no, thank you, Anna. So Party Rock is not a production ready environment. So Party Rock is a place to play right now and to do some applications. Please don't put really content that is confidential there, because it's an open environment. Now, using the example of Party Rock, you could develop your own applications internally using Bedrock and using models that we have. If you want to go deeper in that conversation, as Anna said, send me an email and Guillermo an email, and we can follow up, okay?
Excellent. Very good. Well, we're getting a lot of emails, so we're not going to close this link until we get all the emails and all the questions. Thank you. That again, for the third time today, I have to tell you, I learned so much from your questions. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Juan Carlos, a heartfelt gracias. I mean, honestly, this has been incredible. Your insights and expertise today have really benefited many of us and illuminated us in terms of how to get better at this. I think everybody that is in this chats, have already experienced, AI in many ways, but your insights were terrific, and the conversation itself has been nothing short of inspiring, and so helpful to, set our sights on the opportunities that lie ahead. I think that's probably the most important part. So thank you, thank you, thank you, Juan Carlos. We're going to put you to work after this with all those questions, but thank you again. We hope to see you next year, coming back to us with new advances and new innovations that you're doing at the company, for us to enjoy and use. And for everybody, we're just getting started. The AI is getting started. Latinos in AI are just getting started, right? Next year, we'll be bringing you even more impactful conversations, if possible, just evolving, right? Because this year's were pretty impactful, but we are evolving with the industry. And we always are lucky to bring you game-changing sessions, which I think it's what we promise, to do. Keep an eye out for details about our upcoming webinars. As I said, we'll restart in January. You won't want to miss them. And in the meantime, make sure to follow the Latino Donor Collaborative on social media. Subscribe to our newsletters so that you can get to know about these sessions and many other things that we offer, events, new reports upcoming that are going to be really, really exciting. That's really your VIP pass to stay in the loop of the future events and everything that the LDC is doing, and we're lucky to do groundbreaking events and data. In closing, thanks Juan Carlos, thanks, Guillermo. Again, you are really an inspiration for all of us within the LDC and outside. You were in tech long before many people on the audience, was born. You've been a trailblazer and you've been at the highest places, not only creating tech for everybody, but creating a path for Latinos. So mil gracias for being with us. And to the audience, mil gracias for spending time with us. It's busy. It's the holidays, and you still were here. And we'll, as we always do, the webinars will be out there. If you know of people that were not able to make this time, please tell them to go and watch these webinars. They are really worth it. And here's to a wonderful evening, a joyous holiday season, and an exciting year ahead. Feliz Navidad y próspero año nuevo a todos.
Thank you.